On September 11, a bonus will be given to tax offices that were responsible for the auction and confiscation of properties belonging to Dr. Hong and Taijimen. This is a very old case. Actually, it went on for 24 years, and Taijimen was accused of not paying taxes on money received from the members of the movement called Ditsi and given to their leader or master called Shifu and included in so-called red envelopes. These were gifts, but the National Tax Bureau in Taiwan claims they were really tuition fees in a cram school. Now, several jurisdictions in Taiwan, up to the Supreme Administrative Court, reiterated there is no cram school, there are no tuition fees, these are gifts and they are not taxable. So in the end, after more than 20 years, the National Tax Bureau had to accept this and say that tax bills which were claimed for the years between 1991 and 1996 will be reduced to zero for all years except 1992. So they used the technicality to say 1992 was excluded because all appeal terms had expired. But that was obviously unfair because what happened in 92 was not different from what happened in the other years and should be treated in the same way. Notwithstanding this, they went on, they confiscated properties of Dr. Hong, they auctioned it, the auction was not successful, and now they have appropriated the property and even are getting a bonus. So I have 4 comments about it. Comment number 1, this is a gross injustice and a violation of tax justice, human rights, and freedom of belief. And I appeal to all authorities in Taiwan to do what they can to redress this obvious and gross injustice. My second comment is it's not about money. Taijimen spent probably more money in 24 years just in legal fees for paying the lawyers than they would have paid in settling with the tax bureau. But they don't want to settle, and they are right, because by settling, they would acknowledge they were guilty of tax evasion, and that goes both against factual truth and against their conscience. Comment number 3, some people listening to me, they believe, oh, that's a minor case. There are much bigger problems in the world today, but it isn't. Justice, conscience are never minor problems. And first of all, this is a problem for Taiwan. Taiwan is in a difficult moment of its history. It needs friends. And these friends normally regard Taiwan as a beacon of religious liberty, which doesn't exist in mainland China and other countries in the region. Now, this is basically true. This reputation of Taiwan is well deserved, but there are some relics of the past. Taiwan came to acknowledge religious liberty through a bumpy road, and there are still some rocks around. This is one of these rocks from the past, and I'm afraid if this case is not solved, if there is no remedy for the injustice, Taiwan's international reputation will suffer, and the idea that Taiwan is a country where religious liberty is protected will be called into doubt. And fourth, this is not a case for Taiwan only, because everywhere in the world, governments, both totalitarian and democratic, have the temptation to use, or rather misuse, the tax laws against spiritual, religious, philosophical, or other groups for whatever reason they may decide they do not like. This has happened before. The European Court of Human Rights is just one among many jurisdictions that have ruled that the tax system should not be abused to fight against groups, governments do not approve of. One case involved the Jehovah's Witnesses. They sued France, and the European Court of Human Rights found in favor of the Jehovah's Witnesses, saying France cannot use the tax system as a tool to crack down on groups it regards as cults. And interestingly, in this decision, it was also clearly stated that treating as payments gifts given by devotees to their spiritual leaders or organizations is against international law. So I believe this is important for all of us, not just for Taiji men. And we may even say that today, in September 2020, we are all Taiji men, because everywhere there is an injustice, it is an injustice against all humanity. When Taiji men suffer injustice, we suffer injustice, and we wish for Taiji men to be victorious, because their victory against injustice will be our victory.